Well, hello there. According to this, I am now live. It's been a hell of a day. Mercury retrograde in full force, or at least it's just starting. I don't even know if it's in full force yet, but it's Mercury retrograde in the zodiac sign of Cancer, which is my zodiac sign. So, eek, I have to just sometimes have to laugh at the absurdity of things like spilling paint on my clothes. Um, I haven't even looked to see how I appear on camera because my electric razor died on me in mid shave. I see a little nick here, and I got most of it off. I ordered a new one on Amazon. It's supposed to arrive tomorrow morning. Normally, I would say, well, I don't have to go out tonight. Nobody has to see me. No, only all of you watching me on this show right now. I think I got most of my beard off, but yeah, just died mid shave. Um, let's see what else happened. I was going to get tickets for the Hollywood Bowl for the one of the Fourth of July shows. They do three of them. It's July 2nd, 3rd, and 4th. And I heard they still had some cheap seats left. So I hop in my car, head out there, and a security guard says, "Oh, we're so sorry, sir, but the box office is closed on Mondays." Isn't that lovely? Anyway, Aaron T40. Certainly. Did you, when you say you want a reading, are you wanting to commission me for a reading, make an appointment with me, or you're just wanting one card here? What I do here are just short little readings for people. If you want to get in depth, I offer half-hour and 1 hour readings, and you can make appointments with me, and we do it over the phone. And I love doing that, please. Certainly, I will do that for you. But let me say hi to Kelly Jakowski here. Doing just fine. Sasha, I think she's in the kitchen sleeping right now. But that certainly means she may be coming out here any moment. Okay. Usually don't start out this quickly in the show. I do this later, but let's see what comes up for you. Let me shuffle my cards. I have to get them out. As I was explaining, it's been a real Mercury retrograde day today. That's why I'm even starting on the show late today. And I'll explain more later in just a moment. Okay. I usually go by what jumps out of the deck first and foremost. And without talking to you, without what's going on for you at this time, I'm getting that you're facing some sort of decisions right now. Decisions, things that you're pondering. And of course, as it even says on this card that I'm using here, higher self. When you have decisions, it's not just working from your mindset. It's also going into your heart, your soul, asking for help from your guides. And what leads me to believe that is because there was a card behind it, epiphany. And epiphany usually means just that, receiving. There's Sasha. She just walked past me on the floor. She went in the bathroom to get some dinner where I keep her food and water. But yeah, epiphany. But so that's telling me whatever decisions you have to make it more decisions of the heart than just the head. Listen to your guidance. I hope that helps you some there. And let's see if some more people come on here, because I don't want to have to restate things once more people come on. But Aaron T40, tell me, how do you feel that resonates for you? Does that apply what I said? I'll wait to hear from you there. Oh, good. I'm glad that resonates with you, Aaron T40. That's my pleasure. It's always my pleasure to do this. I have a lot of new subscribers right now. And so I'm aware that I'm going to get new people on here. People I hope will be new friends for me, new regulars. I'm always grateful to all of you who come on here. I love what I do very much. I've been putting more of my channeled readings on my channel. Channeled readings on my channel. I just realized as I was saying that sounds hokey. Channel readings on my channel. Maybe that's even a title there. Catch Kelly in the year of the fire horse, still working you hard. Yes. 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 Just when I think it's going to slow down for a little bit, I think that's just the fire horse stopping to drink some water, rest for a minute before starting giddy up, and galloping again. And I've got other friends who are telling me the same thing, because we are approaching the midpoint of the year. And so it only makes sense that we're going to reflect on where we've come thus far, but we're also realizing, okay, the ride is probably going to intense even more as the year goes on, because we've been sort of establishing our foundation this year for what we want to achieve, what we need to do, what we want to do, hope to do. That's been my case. I've been doing a lot of new things, challenging myself in unexpected ways. Some great things happening. I just recently had a wonderful 2-week trip to Europe, England, Wales, and of course, Rome and Florence. And I just feel passionately in love with Rome. But a trip like that's not something you do for rest. That is type A, where you're going and going and going. So that's happening to you too, Kelly. My dear friend Anastasia Pavlov, she just started a wonderful new job, one of the managers for a restaurant. And if any of you know the restaurant industry, it's tough. It's tough. I don't know if you've seen that television series, The Bear, which is about what it's like to even just a regular restaurant, the intensity of what goes on in the kitchen, the politics, the business, the angst, the pace. And she said that's what it's like for her. She loves it, but it's exhausting also. And it's very much like jumping on a galloping horse and trying to keep up with it. What I'm doing, I want to expand my channel very much. I've needed to do this for a long time, more of the old Hollywood videos, which I've always loved. That's what I've been doing from the beginning. But I was also told by an intuitive friend, she told me this about a year and a half ago. She said, I am predicting that your channel and your show is going to become something very different in about a year or so. And she was right. I never expected to be putting channeled readings up. It's something that I've done for 35 years and something I've done privately for people. But I've never gone public on such a big scale. And I was not expecting it to explode in the way that it has. I doubled my subscribers in the course of 3 days. My Amelia Earhart video, the last I looked, was up to, I think it was 48,000 views. 221 comments. Oh, Dr. Stephanie, I love you and Tammy both. Thank you for being here. I was just saying, Stephanie, I've been putting my channel readings up, like my Amelia Earhart. And I don't know if you heard what I just said, but it's up to 40, at least the last I looked, up to 48,000 views and over 200 comments. And hi, Yvonne White. Of course, I'll read for you in just a moment. And Gigi Pardo, Lord, it's so good to have you here. You always have all your little symbols there that are so nice. It's very welcoming. It makes me feel good. It's just been running the gamut for me. A lot of good and some bad and some really ugly. Anybody who does social media, and I know Tammy, you've had your stories there, some of your experiences with TikTok. Well, I'm getting my share of that right now. When you get over 48,000 views, that's to be expected. Now, I've had a lot of people praise me, enjoy what I received, agreed that it was authentic. And then I had people calling me a fake, calling me a charlatan. One woman said, you should be ashamed of yourself. Another saying, well, the Bible says you should not talk to the dead. God says that. And my response to that, if God gives us talents and ability, I think it's a bigger sin not to use your gifts and your talents. And this is a legitimate talent. I've spoken to so many other intuitives who go through similar things and have conveyed this. But there's no doubt in my mind it is a God-given ability. And there's also no doubt in my mind every single person, every one of you out there has the ability also. And if there's anything I can do to encourage you, I want to do that. I want to empower people. I think it's important that we be able to develop our intuitive abilities, to be able to speak with others on the other side who so want to give us messages. We have to be careful. You have to do your prayers of protection. You have to shield yourself. You have to develop your skills enough to where you recognize negative energy, you know to avoid it. It's a lot of trial and error. I've been doing it for years, but I do consider it essential, especially in these times right now. If anybody's going to save the world right now, it's us collectively, collectively putting our talents together, our minds, our hearts. Each of us, when we receive messages or anything intuitive, it's like we're each a piece of the puzzle and we all fit together to form a bigger body. And I want to help people wherever I can. What was this, Kelly? Cleaning up my father-in-law's house, reorganizing and packing things up, and spring cleaning. It's definitely a workout. Well, you know, Kelly, that's very much a Mercury retrograde positive thing. You know, we hear all about all the crap of the Mercury retrograde. I mentioned it myself. What happened to me trying to buy tickets, the Hollywood Bowl, find out the box office was closed, spilling paint on my clothes, my electric razor dying mid-shave. And this is, what are we, 2 days into the retrograde? But retrogrades are also about completing unfinished business. It's things that we've started, such as cleaning, organizing, filing. This is the perfect time to do those things, to dot the I's, cross the T's, so to speak. But let's see, who was wanting a reading there? It was Yvonne. You would like a reading. You would like a single card. I'm just going to, while I'm talking, I'm going to shuffle my deck here. And Andy, hi there. Hi, thank you for joining. So let's see what wants to come out for you. I'm just doing a single card here. Yvonne, what I'm getting is 2 cards came out, by the way. It's a need for solitude and balance right now. And solitude doesn't mean sequestering yourself away and being completely alone. It just means taking that quiet time, taking that time to meditate, that time to pray, that time to write in your journal, or silently nourish your soul, what it is you need. You need to be in that solitude, because that's where you're going to find your balance in your life right now. And just as I said to a person earlier about receiving an epiphany, often epiphanies are intuitive hits that we only get when we are being quiet. And I believe that's where you'll find your balance right now. I hope that resonates for you. But Kelly, I'm actually working a little on cleaning for myself also. And anybody who knows me, like Stephanie knows, good luck, Chuck. Yeah, it's, you know, I live in a small apartment and I work from home. I'm also an artist. I write, I work on, I have so many projects. So I always have canvases out, brushes, paints. It's next to impossible to keep a small place clean and organized when you're also working in it. I've often thought the only way I'm ever going to keep my place clean is to just stage it like a museum and then wrap it up in cellophane and move out and never touch anything in here. That's the only way. So I'm constantly trying to find my balance in that, you know, to find a happy medium in it. And I'll show you why I'm a little late today, because I was trying to finish a piece of artwork. But Joyce, thank you for joining. It means a lot, folks. Joyce Petrus is my astrologer. I hope I can say that, Joyce. You are my astrologer. She is so talented at what she does, and she's also a gifted numerologist. And Your advice always means a lot to me. She just recently did my solar return chart. I have a birthday coming up, and it just confirmed what I knew. I'm going to be working very, very hard for the rest of the year. But I think, Joyce, you also said I'd have fun doing it. I'm going to be doing things that I love, so I can't complain about that too much anyway. Melissa Sandy, hey, Chuck, I got 2 great audiobooks in the mail. One called Total Recall, the life story of Arnold Schwarzenegger. Oh my God, I love that one. Gracie, a love story by George Burns. I love that. The book I think was written back in 1988, and it became a #1 bestseller. It's one of the sweetest, most endearing books I've ever read. It's George Burns writing about his love affair and marriage and professional partnership with the incredible Gracie Allen. And there are parts in it that will make you laugh, it'll warm your heart, and there are parts in it that'll make you cry, especially the part where it came to Gracie's, when her health started failing and her heart started giving out, and then she died. And I had read the book, and when it got to the part where she died, I cried. And then I was with a friend. We were driving up to San Francisco together. This was just 3 months later. And that audiobook you're talking about, I got it. And this was back in the days of cassettes. I think it was on a cassette, not even a CD. And we played the entire audiobook all the way up to San Francisco. And we got to the part where it was Gracie's death, and George's voice started to crack, and you could tell he was tearing up while he was talking, and we were there in the car crying too. I'll never forget that. I love Burns and Allen. Andy, you're going to love that so much. I recommend that to people. In fact, I think it's available on YouTube for free now, unless somebody's pulled it down, because that happens a lot. Excuse me, I gotta get some water here. That happens where things are available on YouTube and then they get pulled for legal reasons or something. But please check it out if it's on there. If you're a fan of Burns and Allen, it is worth your time. Really worth it. I always hoped it was going to be made into a movie because it was a #1 bestseller. And in fact, I used to be acquainted with the producer, Craig Zadan, and he was well known for doing TV movie biographies of great stars. One of his most acclaimed movies was about Judy Garland. It was Judy Davis starred in it. It was a 2-parter. And it was called Judy Garland, Me and My Shadows. One of the most acclaimed television movies ever made. Won a whole bunch of Emmys. And he did movies, I forget who else, like about Jerry Lewis and Dean Martin, and there was another big celebrity biography he did. But anyway, I approached him and I said, please, please, please do George Burns and Gracie Allen, make a movie about their life, base it on this book. And he said, you know what, I'd love to, but the demographics aren't there. It's mostly older people. Younger people don't care about them anymore. I would have trouble getting the financing for it, which I thought really sucked. But he did too. But he was just telling me those are the hard facts of the business. It was like 1 year he was the producer of the Oscars, and I thought, I've got the ear of the man producing the Oscars, so I'm going to put in my 2 cents and tell him how I think he should do the show. And I said, have you ever considered Bette Midler to host the Oscars? And he said, yes, I have. In fact, I approached Bette and she wanted to do it. ABC, the network carrying the Oscars, ABC shot her down, said, no, she doesn't appeal to young demographics. No, we don't want her. I said, well, that's effed up. And he said, yes, I agree. She would have been an extraordinary host of the Oscars, but that's the business where age discrimination really prevails. I better get back to my comments up here. Someone was asking for a reading. Who was this? F1 Fanic. Hi, Chuck. I wanted to thank you for the card reading on the last show. Well, you're very, very welcome. Yeah, that's always my honor. Let me go back here. I think, did I miss someone asking a reading? I do apologize. It's hard to talk and read the comments and keep up with them. It's a little like patting your stomach. patting your head, rubbing your stomach, see, and drinking water and whistling Dixie. It's a lot to coordinate here. I'm so sorry. Let me scroll back here and see if I can find it. And if I miss you, just please shoot me another message. And please forgive my absent-mindedness here. But thank you for your lovely, lovely compliment. Well, I don't see it here, so I will just trust that anybody I've missed, you'll just please ask me again and bring it to my attention. And people are saying hello to each other. What was this, Andy? Aaron wanted a card read. Okay. For Aaron, I thought I did read for you, Aaron. Let me go back here. Aaron T. Mayo card. How are you? One card, please. Just okay. I'm sorry. Okay. Why am I getting 2 cards at a time here? Obviously, Spirit wants 2 cards for a lot of people today because I got either you're taking a risk or you're meant to take a risk of some kind, but this is like a joyous risk. It's something good, but it's the hit I'm getting off of this. It's like stepping out of your comfort zones, doing something you normally would not do, but you go forward with it, or you're contemplating going forward with it, with this risk. But if you do so, there's going to be a celebration. There's going to be something very good. There's going to be something rewarding for taking this risk. And I don't know what that is, but that's what I got for you. I don't know if it's something small, something big, but it's something I think you're going to be very happy that you took a chance on it. So please let me know if that resonates with you. And let me go back down here. Let's see. And even if I accidentally read for someone a second time, it's quite possible there's more that was meant to be told to you. So that's what I'm getting. Hey, Chris, thank you for joining me. Chris and I have a mutual friend who's been going through a lot right now. I won't go into all their private stuff on this show, but we're doing our best to be there for him right now, and his mother. And they spoke to him today. You may have too. The news is getting a lot more encouraging. It's positive. It's moving slow, but it's in the right direction. And I reminded him of that. And I see people saying hello to each other. And what was it saying? Yvonne wanted one too. I thought I read for you, Yvonne. Yes, I did. I think I did. Please tell me if I didn't. This is where it's hard. This is where I need an assistant here to keep track of my comments while I'm doing this. But yeah, Yvonne, I think I did read for you, didn't I? Let's see. You have to understand one thing. When I do this, I tend to go into a very zone place for a moment, and then I have to pull myself out again and get myself into that left brain place. That place of logic. And this is part of what I guess it's good to do this on the air. It trains me to get stronger in doing readings, because usually when I do a reading for someone, it's in private. It's very much a connection with that person, as opposed to just doing these random on the spot. And where I'm getting better at this is Dr. Whimsy's show. I do her show on Tuesdays and Thursdays. Taco Tuesdays, Hot Topics Thursdays, where we talk about a lot of news events. We also incorporate health, happiness, mental, physical, emotional, spiritual health. We're trying to find the right balance between the two things right now. And anybody I did miss you, let me know. I'll read for you. But it's where we also do readings for people on the spot, but mostly it's not so much personal questions as it is questions regarding the news, questions regarding a certain man in the White House, questions about his administration. We've been doing readings on that. often strive to keep away from politics here and save it for those two shows. It's different audience. But let me scroll through these comments here. I want to make sure I'm not missing anything here. Andy, wondering how Sasha would do as your assistant. Actually, she would be a terrible assistant. You may have seen her here on some shows where she's been with me. And there was one show, I think it was the first week I got back from Europe. She was very excited to have me home again. And I had my lap desk here, which is how I usually work, and I lay my cards out. She kept running across, knocking my cards on the floor. They were going everywhere. I was trying to focus on my readings. Couldn't do that because I had to focus on the cats. And no, she would not be a good assistant. I love my cat dearly, but that's not her purpose. I'll leave her to catching mice if she wants to do anything. Ooh, I hope I don't have mice in here. But let's see here. One of the things I'm doing with my channel is doing more channel readings, and I'm also incorporating my artwork on there. I'm trying to do portraits of the person that I'm doing readings for. And one of the reasons I'm late doing the show today is because I wanted to finish one of the portraits. I have several readings from Jacqueline Kennedy Onassis. I love her very much. She's come to me since the 90s. She's actually one of the oldest of the channeling subjects I've ever done. She started coming to me about a year after she passed away, and I've always felt very close to her. Oh, hello, Ellen. Thank you. Thank you so much for joining. Let's see here. So anyway, this is what I've been working on. I may add some more touches to it, but this is my portrait of Jack. I call her Jacqueline. I know she's known as Jackie Kennedy, but one of my readings I did with her, because much of my readings with her have not been things that I would ever read publicly. She advises me. She guides me personally. She's a very sweet, nurturing, motherly soul, but I'm respectful that it's private, just between the two of us. Just between the two of us. Oh, thank you, Joyce. So Yvonne wanted a reading. Okay, I'll get to that in just a moment here. I'm trying to go back and forth. But she once said to me, because we just converse back and forth. I'll sit with my pen and paper usually and write down what I'm hearing from her. And I've gotten very good at reading her because we have been doing this since 1995? 1995, yeah, because it was a year after she passed away. And she said, I certainly don't mind. She didn't mind being called Jackie. She knew that's how she was known to her friends, her family. But she said, I always loved the name Jacqueline. Jacqueline. And I wish people had called me that. And I said, you know what? I'll call you Jacqueline. I do that out of respect to her. I call her Jacqueline when I speak to her. But anyway, this is my first ever portrait of her. I literally finished this minutes before I went on the air. In fact, the paint was still wet. I had to take a hairdryer and try to dry it as best as I could. And I may put a few more details on it. And let me reach for something here. Sorry. This is how I work. I paint in watercolor. If you see that, I don't know if any of you work in watercolor. And then I take colored pencils. And I'm not going to go over it in here, but I take the colored pencil and then I go over it, over the watercolor. And that's what gives me a nice, tight, sharp detail. And so anyway, I'm very excited about this. I'm going to be putting up at least one of my channel readings with Jacqueline Kennedy Onassis. She's given me an earful a few times. She's not happy with the Trump administration. She had some surprising things to say to me when Trump put his name on the Kennedy Center. Okay, I'm not striving to be political here. I'm just saying what she said. She said, let him put his name above my husband's because it will only call attention to him and it will call further attention to the glory of my husband. And it will call attention to his shame all the way across from the Potomac. And I asked her about the rose garden, and that surprised me. She said, don't we have more important things to talk about than a rose garden? And she said, look, I meant for other first ladies to put their own imprint on that rose garden. I never claimed it just for me, but it really struck me. And she said, don't we have more important things right now to be talking about than a rose garden? So anyway, I've got that. I've got messages from Richard Nixon, Harry Truman, Ronald Reagan, Ruth Bader Ginsburg, Princess Diana. I've got Princess Diana in the works, Ruth Bader Ginsburg in the works, Richard Nixon, Harry Truman. These are not finished, folks. My method of working is to put down many, many layers of watercolor. So that's why I was holding them up quickly, because they are anything but complete. But I do have the Jacqueline to a point where I felt that I could at least show you this. Because I've got to get more readings up. It's been a while since I put up the last 3. And let me see here. Yvonne wanted a reading. And she always wore beautiful clothes. She had impeccable taste. The outfit she was wearing in the photograph actually was white. The pillbox hat, the suit was white, and with pearl earrings and pearls. It was just impeccable. The woman had the greatest taste. But I wanted to do the teal blue because teal blue is the color she uses to communicate with me. And it's funny, I just looked and I saw him drinking out of a teal blue glass. What was this? Shirley Ann 2682, you did a quick card reading for me last week or so about a probating will. I showed the video to my sister and she said, you really got me. She was amazed. I'm trying to stay strong. Shirley, and thank you. Thank you. That's a great, great compliment. And I want you to know that keeps me encouraged to keep going, because it's comments like yours that balance out the comments where people call me a fake, call me a charlatan, tell me I should be ashamed of myself, that type of thing. It really, really means a lot to me. One Fanic, just a question, a reminder, Chuck, any idea when you might get to attempt to speak with Marie Antoinette? I would really appreciate it. Well, I will try. I never make promises, because sometimes a soul doesn't want to talk to me. Or it might be a case of, I'm not saying this about Marie Antoinette, I'm just giving examples here. Or I might be picking up on really strong, dark energy where I know not to go there. It can be a variety of reasons. It can even be the person may have reincarnated and they're frankly not available, so to speak. But I will give that a try. Okay, I promise you, I will give that a try. I think that's a fabulous idea, and certainly be a great idea for a portrait to do. Let me get a sip here. We're getting the beginnings of a heat wave here in Los Angeles. In fact, Stephanie, I would imagine down in Banning, it's got to be really hot near Palm Springs. I wouldn't even want to think about it. I have a very good friend, an elderly friend in Laughlin, Nevada, that I very much wanted to go visit. But I looked on the phone, I saw it was 110 degrees there right now. And I don't know. I don't know if I'm going to brave it or not. Okay. But anyway, Shirley Ann, thank you for that compliment. And one Fanic, I will give Marie Antoinette a try. Now, let's see. Now, who was it that I missed, please? It was Yvonne. Okay, let me see here. Let me just scroll back. Pardon me, please. I'm just looking through all the comments here. Okay, so it was Yvonne. Okay, let me see. And as I said, if I end up reading twice for someone, which could very well happen, it may be just there's more you're meant to be hearing. But let me see. Okay. Let's see. My method is to let whatever card wants to jump out of the deck come to me. Yvonne, I don't even know what this means because it just came out, but I got there's some sort of discontent. Now it could be minor, it could be a small thing, but you are called to be disciplined. And it's possible whatever discontent you've been feeling or whatever has been calling at you, not tugging at you, it's through discipline you're going to move onward and you're going to find your truth. You're going to find your happiness because I got the truth card also. There's something about a higher truth that you're meant to find through discipline, through perseverance. And it's interesting because Whimsy and I have been finding this for a lot of people right now, that a lot of people are finding that they're being called to master something. Because I find it's interesting, the discipline card also says master teacher. It's about mastering something in your life. We're all being called to master something right now and to put in the hours. Whimsy and I are going to be talking about it on the show tomorrow, interestingly enough, and she addressed it on her show Sunday because she's trying to master the violin right now, and it's almost anything you master is it's almost always going to involve frustration. Sometimes it's going to involve heartbreak. Sometimes it's going to involve euphoria. Myself as an artist, I can assure you, I have taken many a drawing and ripped it up into pieces and thrown it on the floor. I once smashed a canvas across my knee. I was so angry and so frustrated. But you pick yourself up and you move on and you stay in discipline. So that's what I'm getting for you. Some sort of discipline and something to master, and that's part of your higher truth and enlightenment and higher purpose. So I hope that resonates for you. Andy, with his card reading, I don't think that he has seen my question on a book, if I should get it or not. No, Andy, I didn't see it. What was the book, please? I'm so sorry. It's very hard to keep up with all the comments here and do this at the same time. Wait, let me go back here. Let me go back. Like pink, I know it's hello. Okay, hello. Hi, Randy Domel. I'm new. Oh, you're new here. Well, I'm really happy to have you here. And let me go down a little. Sir, your question is, when and how will I find new career opportunity? Let me see. Okay, now I don't know if I'm going to be able to find when, but I'm just going to see what this is going to show me, okay? Okay, let's see. Now, when I can't determine a time frame here with these type of cards, but how you will find your new career opportunity, I think I've got better cards on that for you that are going to be helpful. What I'm getting is you are a natural leader. You're good at inspiring people. This illustration, you see someone at the top with a light leading others up the ladder. And to me, a good leader inspires people, you inspire others. And that's how you get a lot more accomplished. I get that that's something you're good at. How you're going to find a job. It was interesting to me, two cards that were together. You need to know that you are a life force. You are a life force, but I also got the self-esteem card. Like maybe you doubt, as we all do. We're all guilty of this. Sometimes we are doubtful of our own gifts, our own abilities, our own strengths. And so I'm getting that there's something in your self-esteem to maybe bolster, to work on, to recognize that the truth of it is you are a life force. That's going to go a long way for you. You're going through a lot of decisions right now. That's a given. It's about sticking to your priorities, being really clear, crystal clear on what your priorities are. Really clear. Do some soul searching, journal writing, meditation. Really be clear on that, because that's going to move you a lot closer to the job you want. It'll move you closer to your goals, the clearer and more specific you are about your priorities. And I'm also getting, as I've said for others, a lot of how you're going to find your right job is through your intuition, epiphanies. You're just going to get intuitive hits of your own, epiphanies. You're going, as you stay, what I'm getting from that priority card, it's about getting clear on those priorities. And the clearer you get, the closer you're going to get to receiving epiphanies. And I'm also getting that you've got a lot of imagination, a lot of creativity. And that is a great asset for you. And that's something that you should sell yourself on. Like when you do your job interviews, pursuing your jobs, show your ingenuity, your imagination, your creativity. Let people see that aspect of yourself, and that's going to get you far. And I think that's how you're going to find your job. Now, I hope that's going to help you. I'm sorry I can't tell you when that's going to be, but I just don't have the right kind of cards for that. But I'd love to know how that resonates with you, and I'd also love to hear from you. Let me know in the future. Oh, good, that did resonate with you. I would love to hear from you in subsequent weeks how this is applying for you. Or maybe we can even read again. Maybe we can fine tune this further. But that's how it feels for me right now in this moment for you. Oh, thank you, Shirley Ann, for your compliment about my paintings. Chuck, could you and or Whimsy discuss histamine intolerance? It seems to me like a hidden epidemic regular medicine isn't acknowledging. You know what? If I had a little time to do a little research on that, I mean, I am aware of it, but before I would answer questions like that, I'd love to do a bit more research. I think Dr. Whimsy could probably answer that off the top of her head better than me, but there's certainly a lot of things that are not being acknowledged in the medical community. And a lot of natural methods definitely get put down. There are a lot of people who put down homeopathy, for example, which I know for fact works beautifully. I've used it for myself for years. I have a very good friend who's a homeopathic practitioner who's given me the greatest advice. It always works. And in fact, I'm giving Sasha homeopathic medicines right now. I gave them to her. Well, I didn't give them to her. Anastasia was taking care of Sasha while I was in Europe. My friend recommended homeopathic remedies to give her to help her to deal with stress and anxiety, and we put them in her water dish, and it helped quite a bit. But histamine intolerance, I wish I could talk about that more right now. Why don't you? Well, let me see. Because I know tomorrow and Thursday we talk about political things on Dr. Whimsy's show. I don't know if you are a member of her private salon on Saturdays. She takes personal, private questions on Saturdays. If you're a member of her group, or if you want, I will do a little bit of research, and next week, ask me again. I'll be able to really talk about it for you. Okay. But I'd rather be prepared rather than just guess off the top of my head. What was this, Andy? Is the name of the book not showing in chat? What's the name of the book, Andy? Andy, it's a Kirk Douglas book called My Stroke of Luck. I am familiar with that. I did not read the book. I know, of course, Kirk Douglas did suffer a stroke. He lived to be 103 years old, and I think he had this stroke when he was in his 80s. And it did impair his speech for a while. And of course, for an actor, that's horrifying to lose your ability to speak. I remember Jack Klugman, the wonderful actor who was, of course, with Tony Randall in The Odd Couple. He had to lose one of his vocal cords to cancer. They managed to save one vocal cord, but he couldn't talk. And he had to work with a speech therapist to develop that lower vocal cord to where it could function. And I read his book, and he said, for an actor, he said that he almost wanted to just die. He wanted his life to be over. He said if he couldn't act again, that was the end of his life. And it was actually Tony Randall who worked with him and got him as a speech therapist. And Tony Randall encouraged him every single day until he could make that vocal cord work again. Now he was left with like this really deep, gravelly voice. But as Jack Klugman said, it may not have been a pretty voice, but it was a voice. And at least he could still get on stage and act. And Kirk Douglas, I know, spoke of that too. But I don't know much more about the book aside from that, Andy. And Kelly, your phone's asking for a charge. Well, by all means, give that phone a charge. Let's see. What was this? Kadam 1472. Coincidentally, I saw both Kirk and Jack Klugman at Broadway shows. Jack at Dancing in Lunasa, is that saying it right? And Kirk in Cuckoo's Nest. I've been to the Kirk Douglas Theater in Culver City. You know, he and his wife founded that, but I never had the good fortune of seeing him on stage. And Jack Klugman, I wish I had seen, because I know that he and Tony Randall, they revived the original stage production of The Odd Couple and toured the country with it. And they were here in LA. And I am kicking myself for not going to that. I'd love to have seen them live on stage doing The Odd Couple. I think Jack Klugman was an extraordinary actor. Extraordinary. A time machine. Hello, Mr. Dransfield. Sense anything about the direction of my life? Well, let me see here. Let me just get a sip of water, please. Oh, ice water helps. The direction of your life. Let me see here. Shuffling these. Some of my cards are upside down. Okay, it's so interesting when you said, can I tell you anything about the direction of your life? And I found it very interesting. The very top card I got was purpose, going in the direction of your life, going in the direction of your purpose. Your purpose is you're definitely going for a higher truth here. You're looking for what your authenticity is. And it's interesting, the card, you know, it says master teacher on here, but sometimes we're our own master teacher. You're going down this direction, and it's going with purpose, with, you know, not veering the course, going toward it. You're discovering what your higher truth is. You're learning from your higher self right now. And I also see you finding more peace within yourself, the dove of peace, more at rest, more at balance with yourself. But I'm getting there. You're also very much about some sort of business. And you may find that there's an agreement that's going to be made, but it may involve a certain amount of compromise. I don't know what that would be. Where in this business, you may not get everything you want, but you're going to get a really good agreement in this business. You're heading toward that, but I'm getting more about yourself, your purpose, finding your higher truth, finding more of a sense of peace for yourself. That's what's coming up for you right now. And now the time frame on that could be just right, like right now, the first few weeks, it could be a few months, but it seems like right now during the Mercury retrograde, one of the purposes is to get in touch with whatever it is we've been neglecting, getting in touch with our truth, getting in touch with our authenticity. And that in itself opens up a lot more potential and possibilities for you. It's like doing the basics first. So I hope that was of some help to you there. Goddess Val, hi there, me again, with a possible practical homeopathic remedy for histamine reactions. Boron allergy calm. Yes, well, you know, there are also specific boron remedies as well. Usually, Allergy Calm, of course, is a combination of several things, and it's a good go-to. If you're lucky to work with a homeopathic practitioner, they can get more specific, as far as the dosing goes. They might be able to even pinpoint a specific remedy. The woman I know, she actually works with her pendulum and her psychic abilities to find the right remedies. And she's also experimenting right now with mega doses of homeopathy. We got like 10 mm, which is huge. There was one she recommended to me, and I called the Santa Monica pharmacy, which specializes in homeopathy, and they didn't even have it there. And the woman I spoke to even said 10 mm. She was talking like that was poison or something. And I said, no. My friend knows what she's doing. And my friend referred me to a place where you could get it, but I haven't taken the remedy yet. But thank you for that suggestion, the Boron Allergy Calm. Goddess Vow. Also, one can Google a practical homeopath named Joette Calabrese, I said right, and get years of free blog posts on various subjects. Well, thank you very much for that suggestion. And that's great. Other people out here can follow that. And Goddess Vow, hi, Andy. Did you try Ignatia from last week? Yeah. Ignatia can help a lot with stress and grief. I'm trying to remember one that's really good for anxiety. I mean, I know there are many. The name is escaping me, and I know I have it in my medicine chest right now because it actually has helped me with sleep quite a bit. It was this Kadam. Dang, Mercury is retrograde again. Oh, yes, it does it like four times a year? I think it's about every 3 months. And it's like, just when we get over one, it's like, damn, another one's starting up. Goddess Vow. Actually, thank you for your suggestion about England. In my case, no, because I literally was just in England, and that particular remedy I was looking for, I went to several homeopathic pharmacies there, and they did not have it. And they kind of looked at me the way the woman in Santa Monica did. But thank you for the suggestion, because I know homeopathy is far more accepted in Europe. In fact, the royal family has always been big on homeopathy. I don't know if they still are, but I know that Queen Elizabeth used to travel the world with a whole trunk, a whole medicine chest of homeopathic remedies. She was a great believer in it. Andy, hey, did anybody see we lost Joe Negri, age 99, Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood? Yes, he died. I think he died a couple of weeks ago. And when he passed away, I was a little surprised because I guess like many, I'd assumed he'd passed away many years ago. And I was like, wow, 99, that's really good. And he brought a lot of happiness to people, as just, I think everybody on that show did. I probably watched Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood a lot longer than I should have. Excuse me. I think when I was still like 13, 14, 15, I was still watching it. But you know why? The show is like comfort food. And I've talked to a lot of adults who have said they've used the excuse of, oh, I'm watching it with my child. And they'll admit, I'm watching it for me. My kid just happens to be here. Mr. Rogers was, you want to talk about a highly elevated soul, a really, really good man. Something I found deeply moving was something on YouTube I saw where I think this was 1970. I could be wrong on that date, but he testified before the I think before the Senate, when they were considering serious budget cuts to PBS. And Mr. Rogers' plea was so heartfelt. It was so sincere about the importance of PBS and what it means to people and what it means to children. The Senate didn't cut a cent from the budget for PBS, and it was because of Mr. Rogers. He was a good man. I mean, I wish that man were still here. I wish we could have cloned Mr. Rogers. We need about 1,000 more of him in the world. But you know what? because I do speak a lot with the other side. Mr. Rogers, Epiphany, I should see if I could call on him, because what I find with a lot of these souls is that they're working even harder on the other side in their purpose than when they were here on earth. They're still very much working. That's what I got from Ruth Bader Ginsburg. She's working very, very hard for the sake of our American democracy right now, trying to save it. She and a lot of others. I bet you Mr. Rogers is doing a lot of work on the other side for good. I bet he's still guiding children. So I'm going to see if he'll come to me for a future reading. I just got that idea. Live in front of all of you. Let me go back on my comments here. I'm just apologizing if I'm missing people. Just call out to me again if I've missed you. But yes, God is value. You said I might be able to get remedies that high from, you said from Helios in England. I'm sorry, I missed that part of it. I just went to regular pharmacies. I don't think I went there, but then I also had very limited time when I was in London. Whimsy had a pretty high agenda, a lot of videos we needed to shoot and things we'd promised people. And we were just working so hard while we were there. We would start early in the morning, and by 8 or 9 o'clock at night, we were in bed. We were exhausted, and I just had to just try to find little things like that here and there. But you're right. I might be able to look online and see if they ship to America. Anyway, Andy, thank you for bringing up Joe Negri and Mr. Rogers. Oh, God is foul. Helios will make it for you. Thank you. Thank you for that tip. That's good to know. I found a place that I can order the one I needed, but it's good to know that it can be made up for me custom. And I'll even tell my friend who prescribes homeopathy about that in case she's not aware of it, because she can certainly recommend it to a lot of her own clients. Kadam, hot tip for classic film lovers. I may be saying this wrong. Dubjack's Films on YouTube has been uploading delightful British films. Most are new to me. Okay, well, I'll make a note of that. Thank you for the suggestion, because I am most definitely a film lover. And, the problem is for me, there just are not enough hours in the day to do all this. I need to even drop a lot on my streaming channels because I'm frankly not watching them. I can go days without even turning on my television because I just have so much work to do. Not that I'm complaining, but that's just my life right now. And Jim Nothing. Yes, I knew about Joe Negri's passing from Pittsburgh. That's right, because Pittsburgh is where Fred Rogers, I believe, did his show. Just like, I guess that was something at PBS, like Julia Child used to do her show from, I think, from Cambridge, Massachusetts. I think. Was this, and isn't it neat? Fred Rogers was a real life pastor. I just wish he had videos of himself at his church and his services, and also his mom or his wife made sweaters. His mom or his wife made his sweaters for the show. I think it was his wife. I think it was. He had quite a partnership with his wife. I don't know if you saw the movie. It was called It's a Beautiful Day in the Neighborhood. Tom Hanks played Mr. Rogers. Very sweet movie, but they showed his wife in the film and how she contributed. And I understand that his wife even had a hand in casting Tom Hanks. And I think she even said something to the effect that Fred had once said he would love Tom Hanks to play him. So she pursued him for that. She knew he was right, and she met with him, and she felt he really captured her husband's spirit. I'm not sure how much of a pastor Fred Rogers was once he was doing his show. By that, I mean, I don't know if he had time to actually preach in churches anymore, or if he just treated his show as a ministry, because in many ways it was, and it was a higher calling. And you want to talk about doing the work of God. Mr. Rogers was doing the work of God. There are just millions and millions of adults today who were impacted as children by Mr. Rogers in the most positive ways possible. He was so about building your self-esteem, building your imagination, honoring your own truth of who you are, and saying it's okay to be who you are. Just to say you are special. You are my friend. I got a call on him. What was this here? Yeah, Andy, that I just said, that is on YouTube. That's where I found that, where he was addressing, I believe it was the Senate committee. It was the House or the Senate. And it was around 1970, and it was about saving the budget for PBS. And he did. And Jess Miskey, hi there. Thank you for joining. Thank you so much. It was true about him being a minister, but there was also some weird rumor about Mr. Rogers. One of those things that went viral about how he killed a lot of people in Vietnam, and that the reason he wore the long sleeve sweaters was to cover up a whole bunch of tattoos on his arms. There was not a word of truth to that. In fact, during the Vietnam War, he was doing his show. It was impossible, but nonetheless, that rumor went viral, and every so often you see it pop up in places. What was this? Okay, let me get some other comments here. It's his wife Joanne. Yeah. No, I don't think that was the reason she cast him. I think it was because he was able to embody that sweetness, that goodness, just that basic goodness that was so inherent to Mr. Rogers. It's that thing you can never fake. It's either there or it isn't. But yes, he was an ordained minister. Goddess Val said, Hahnemann Labs is in San Rafael, California. Your friend might need to write a prescription or order it for you with that high a potency. That's quite possible. But I was able to get it over the counter, so to speak. It was through mail order. I had to order it online, but I didn't have to have a prescription for that. But really, thank you for these suggestions, because these are quite valid, and they may apply to other homeopathics that aren't so readily available and could really make a difference in people's lives. Jess Miskey, dear Chuck, I truly value your abilities, and I need to know what you see as far as career for me. I'm ready to thrive and not just survive. Well, I love hearing you say that. Ready to thrive and not just survive. Let's see here. And two things pop out, but as far as a career for you, several things came out together there. It may not be as specific as you want, but I think it's going in the right directions here. Just going by what's jumping out here. Well, first of all, you said you want to thrive and not just survive. And I found it interesting. First thing came out was boredom. Like, I don't mean that to be a serious thing, but yeah, you're not happy where you are right now. You want more, and you're dropped it on the floor. Sure. What that means by dropped it on the floor. Maybe that's calling attention to it. But anyway, you definitely need to move closer to something that you appreciate. That, and I hope I'm not being too obvious here, but that's what's coming up. Moving closer to that. It's something in business. This came out, but it's got to be something heart-centered, something that you love, something that you do appreciate as you're moving out of the boredom, the stagnation. Um, I get that you've got natural bravado in you, more than maybe you give yourself credit for. You've got a certain bravado presence, more charisma than maybe you're giving yourself credit for. So definitely hold on to that. You've got bravado in you, and that's going to serve you. That's going to make you shine. That's going to make you stand out in job interviews. Next things I got, there's something within you. It's interesting. I got the bravado, but you've also got a certain sense of leadership in you. And this came up for someone else as well. There's a certain sense of leadership here. Now, I don't know if that necessarily means management or that just means doing something that inspires others. And so I could see it meaning different things. It could be a certain management, but I'm getting more, the hit I'm getting right now, this is more about inspiring people, maybe teaching people, guiding people, helping people to find potential within their own selves. And I think there's going to be a great sense of peace in that for you, a great sense of enlightenment for you. You're going to find that you enjoy that. And finally, I got creativity. Something involves creativity within yourself, imagination and creativity, I think, is going to really light you up. Leadership involving that, maybe that's part of what you're supposed to instill in other people, inspiring them to find their own imagination. And as you do this, I just see you being in a state of grace. Like this is like a higher purpose for you. So I would say right now, meditate. This may sound like something I'm saying to everybody, but it's just true. It's a time to meditate, to think, to journal, write, or whatever your methods are. Get, as I said to someone else, get clear on what you want and focus on the things that give you joy, because that's going back to your childhood. What are the things that have always given you joy? And that will give you clues as to what you want to do with your life. How can you take the things that gave you joy and now do something with that? That's why I was sensing something about maybe working with other people. I don't know if that means volunteer work. That means hopefully career, because I'm sure that's what you're looking for. But you've got a lot of, remember that bravado card. You're special. You've got a lot in you. Give yourself credit for that. Own that about yourself. I hope that helps you. I hope that resonates. What was this, Andy? Anybody's going to ask Jim, going to say, I still have bad days, but the bad days are getting better. Well, Andy, I'm glad they're getting better for you. We all have bad days. I had kind of a cruddy part of my day today, as I said. We all have the bad days, but they do get better. Andy, I think you might like trying journal writing. Because it's a good way to gauge the good days and the bad days. Sometimes it's very easy to dismiss the good days, to dismiss the blessings, especially if it's just little things, seemingly little things in the moment. We tend to just forget about those. You write them down, like, this is what happened to me today. These were my blessings today. Then you look back on it and you see you're having better days than you realize. A lot better. And sometimes you see the bad days aren't as bad as you thought. Or the bad days, if you chronicle these in a journal, you're going to see that those bad days led you to something good, or it instigated some form of action that you might not have taken any other way. It's just like that boredom card I got for Jess. Sometimes that's what we need. We need a spur in our side. We need something to propel us forward, to where it gets so uncomfortable, you have no choice but to take action. So, Andy, those are just some thoughts there for you. Picky Kitten, what was this? Picky Kitten NN? I hope I'm saying that right. Hello. Of course you can join in. Thank you. Thank you for joining me. Randy DeMouse, deep and simple is better than being shallow and complex. Mr. Rogers. I like that. And that sums the man up, Mr. Rogers. You look at him, you watch his shows, seemingly so simple, but yet layers and layers underneath that simplicity and power behind that simplicity. How powerful it is just to say to a child, you're special and you're perfect just exactly as who you are. I like you for who you are. That is profoundly powerful, but so simple. What was this? Does Sam miss me or I cross his mind? Will he reconnect one day? Let's see here. I'm at lab desk here. Okay. The first part of your question there, you said, does Sam miss me or do you cross his mind? I'm going to have to do your second question separately, but what I got is right now, Sam is very wrapped up in a lot of priorities right now. Like he's got a lot of things going on, a lot of things, but that could also mean distractions as well. And I was trying to read more into that until I got more cards here. And this is why I'm pretty sure this applies to you because it's the partnerships and love card. That's what that's telling me here. And Sam, I get that Sam is trying to throw himself into priorities and things and gloss over. A lot of us are guilty of that, things we don't want to face. We get busy. We try to have distractions. But this came up. He's feeling loss. He's feeling loss, and he's also feeling a deprivation from this. So I'd have to say, yes, he does miss you. It is crossing his mind. Though I do feel he's trying to maybe block it out with priorities. But yes, he does miss you. Now, will you reconnect? I want to take this as a separate question. I didn't want to lump those two together. So I'm putting all the cards back. I'm going to reshuffle and let's just see what happens. I feel good about this part here because the very first card that jumped out of my deck was unconditional love. Unconditional love, and this could be true for both of you. Unconditional love, meaning putting some things aside, maybe the things that maybe annoy you. We all have things that annoy us with each of our partners, but there's an underlying unconditional love and nurturing. And I just put the cards together, shuffled again. Look what jumped out again. It just jumped out again. It was the second card, partnerships and love. Maybe you know more what this means than I do, but I got competition, tug of war. I don't know if this means other people or this means things like a job or family or circumstances, but there's some sort of competition here that's maybe in the way a bit, but I'm getting that it is going to balance out, which looks favorable. And solitude may mean both of you just need to take a little time out here and just, let things fall into place as they're meant to fall into place. But I think it looks favorable. I can't promise you, but that's just what I'm getting. And I'm reading the energy of the moment right now. I hope that resonated with you. And I hope that this applies. That's what I got in my cards. Okay, let me go back up here a bit. Let's see what I've missed. But anyway, I think that looks favorable for a reconnection. And I want to emphasize the word favorable. I'm not saying definitely, but it's quite favorable. Let's see, Sherry O2E. Hello, Chuck and community. Well, hello to you too. Hello. Oh, thank you. Love my son 85. Love your artwork. It's amazing. Well, thank you. I take a lot of pride in my artwork. I've worked very, very hard to get to the level I'm at. And it's interesting that Whimsy and I have been talking on our shows about mastery, because what I do is something I've been doing since I was a child. And I went to college. I studied art at Virginia Commonwealth University. I've worked professionally, but I've also messed up a lot of work. As I said, I've broken canvases over my knee. I've ripped drawings up. There's a lot to mastery, to getting to say a level of where I've been, with my portrait of Jacqueline Kennedy. I can whip something out a lot faster than I used to. The fact that I did a lot of this an hour before the show, why I was late. It's a combination of education. It's a combination of experience and practice, but it's also intuition. I work a lot from my intuition, and I do my art. There are times in my head I have no idea how I'm going to convey something, and I go here. It's the same place I go when I do readings. I do channeling. Applies to my art, applies to my writing. I just get what I need. And that's why I want to emphasize again to those of you I advised with the cards, where it's said for you to use your intuition. I know for a fact it works because I have walked the walk. It works, I promise you. Oh, thank you, Andy, for saying that, for welcoming in new people here. I'm so happy to have you here. And I apologize if I'm saying your names wrong. One Topol, 1967. Hello, I'm glad to have you here. Goddess Val, I love your artwork too, and I hope that you sell prints one day. Oh, I do sell prints. I do. I sell originals and I do sell prints. Contact me if there's anything you ever want. I have to do prints custom to order, but I can definitely do that. And it's just my joy to get my artwork out there into the world. Just Misky, I appreciate you so much. Thank you for being a lighthouse for all of us in rough waters. That's a beautiful compliment. And please know I take your compliment with total honor. Thank you very, very much. Picky Kitten. And yes, One Topo. I hope that card reading applied for you. One Topo, 1967, lost my brother and wonder how he is. Well, let me get my cards. I'm just going to see what I get. When I do a channeled reading, like the ones I read, those are ones where I sit down and I meditate for a while. I don't just do them off the top of my head, but I can generally pick up a few things when I do readings here. And I certainly, when I connect with a person in a private reading, I generally am better at doing it. But let me see what your brother would like to say to you. And I am sorry for your loss. I don't know if you're still going through a lot of grief over your brother. And I realize that might be a seemingly dumb thing to say, because of course you are. Any of us who have lost a loved one goes through grief, but I'm getting something here where he's saying, because this came up when I pulled it out of the deck, it's like your brother is saying to you, please don't grieve me. He's saying he appreciates the grief. He appreciates your love. He understands, but this is true for almost anybody I read for on the other side. They are saying they are happy on the other side. They're doing well, and they want you to know that. And they want you, while you're here on earth and you're still living, live your life. Live your life. It's natural to pass. It's natural to go to the other side. We're all going to do it. It's like he's even saying, I think he's even saying to me right now, you've still got time here on earth. So I'm not saying you're passing away or anything like that. I would never dream of doing that. But he's saying it's it's like a blink of the eye. We're going to be together. You'll be together again soon enough. He's with you now. Our loved ones are with us. They're constantly guiding us. They're constantly trying to talk to us, watching over us. He's saying you're going to be together soon enough. Live your life while you're here. Don't spend too much time grieving for him and being in sorrow. He's touched by, appreciates it, but he wants you to really live your life and your purpose. Let me see if there's anything else here. Saying appreciate the gifts, the joy of your life right now. It's all around you. It's all around you. He's saying it's beautiful where he is. And he, it's like when they can watch over us, they see what we're maybe not looking at, maybe what we're not ignoring. He wants to just remind you, look at the gifts in your life, look at the joy, look at what's all around you. Really appreciate what you got there here on earth while you're here. Really, really appreciate it. That's coming through. I hope that resonates. That's what I could hear him saying to you. But I am sorry for your loss. But as I've said to others, I've said this to you, Andy, about your mother. I've said this about my own mother. Comes around. I don't feel like I lost her. She comes around, and the best way I can describe it for anyone, because we all have the ability to do this. We all have the ability. It's just training yourself. It's like being in a room and you got your back turned, but that person is in the room behind you. Their energy. You can feel them. Now, we've all had that experience. And I know, as I said with my mother, when she came to me the day after she died, she was laughing, just happy to be out of that body, happy to be on their side, laughing. My mother's laughter was unmistakable. And I think it's safe to say most of us know our mother's laughter, and their presence when they're behind you, when you're not even looking. Train yourself to be aware of that. And you may find your loved ones are with you a lot more than you realize. And you may not feel that you've even lost them. They're there. They're very much there. And they're sending you love, and they're sending you their best wishes, and they're doing their best to guide you. It's like having guardian angels. Let me go some other comments here. Chuck, you were talking about Jackie Kennedy. I found an audiobook of hers where there are, let me see, pardon me. So sorry, my throat gets dry. There is an audiobook that I'm aware of. I'm assuming you mean her specifically. I have that on my iPad. It was actually, she never did an autobiography. She certainly never recorded one. But what she did do after her husband, President Kennedy, was assassinated, she did agree to sit down for some recorded interviews. And these interviews were to be put into archives. I think she was doing it for the sake of history. Jacqueline Kennedy was she was a great history lover. She was very private, but she was also very aware of her importance in American history. So she agreed to sit down and do these interviews. And the condition was, I think, that the tapes could not be released publicly for 100 years. And I forget, it might have even been 100 years after her death and 100 years after the deaths of her children. And it was Caroline Kennedy. And of course, this was after her brother John had been killed in the plane crash. She was the last surviving immediate member of the family. And as her daughter, she made a choice to release the tapes. I think it was after the 50-year point. they were released. And there was a book written with the transcripts of the tapes and then the audio recordings. And I do have that. And I think that's what you're referring to. But there are also some wonderful biographies where there are audiobooks. A good friend of mine, J. Randy Taraborelli, has written a magnificent book about Jackie Kennedy. And there's an audiobook for that. What was this? Oh, yeah, there are a lot of good audiobooks on eBay. I don't know if you're catching the names of titles on them. Well, I'm trying my best here, Andy. I'm trying to keep up with the comments. I'm trying to do readings. I'm trying to talk. It's a juggling act here. Oh, yeah, audiobooks of Mr. Rogers, Cronkite, Jackie Kennedy, Billy Graham. You know, I normally like to read an autobiography, but I mean a book, I should say. I normally like to read a book, but when it's an autobiography, I love the audio versions because I like to hear the person tell their story, hear their inflections, hear their emotions. I'm just about done with Barbra Streisand's autobiography. After all this time, I'm down to like the final 2 hours, but that's been fascinating for me. I waited decades for that book to come out. Oh yes, Jess Miskey, he maintained a weight of 143. He was very disciplined. I understand that he went swimming every day. That was his favorite form of exercise. But he worked out. He took care of himself. Yeah, I don't think you ever saw Mr. Rogers' weight fluctuate. What was this, Sandy Jacqueline Kennedy, Historic Conversations on Life of John F. Kennedy? I think that's what it was called. Honestly, I'd have to have my iPad here and look it up, but it was fascinating to hear her speaking in her own voice. And it also was interesting for me because when that came out, I had already been channeling her myself for quite a while. And it was interesting to hear how much it sounded the same. You know, it was like a nice checks and balances for me, that I was on the right track, that I was receiving her authentically. You know, I told the first time she ever came to me, it was in a very vivid dream. I've told the story before, about a year after she died, and I just loved her. We just formed a friendship in that dream, and then she started coming to me ever more after that. And I will admit that before that, I had always had this misconception that Jacqueline Kennedy Onassis was this snobbish, elitist, rich woman, you know, just kind of above it all. And what I learned when I was channeling her was, and she even said to me, Chuck, I was just shy. I was just shy. That's all it was. I wasn't trying to be snobbish. I was just shy. And she even admitted to me she didn't think she was that big of a deal. She said, I thought I was a dud. I was worried about not being enough as First Lady. Well, those were unfounded worries. And I think that's a great lesson for all of us. One of you out there, I got, when you were asking me about pursuing a job or something, I got the self-esteem card, and it was about owning the bravado you've got within yourself. Well, I think that was a case for her. She just needed to own the magnificence that was just innately within her. But at the same time, that's also what made her so special and so endearing, that shyness, that maybe that uncertainty about herself. It humanized her for a lot of us. Oh, David Seilers, 3181, loved your Searching for the Trevi Fountain video. Thank you so much. So much beautiful statuary and Roman architecture and the buzz of the streets. I've edited video and appreciate the work you put into it. Well, thank you for your compliment, because I'm still learning to edit. I'm still trying to master it. So I really, really appreciate you saying that. That video I posted last night, I still have a lot of iPhone clips from my trip to Europe that I'm still editing together. And last night, Mercury retrograde, I was being hit with a lot of technical difficulties where when I was trying to edit it, it would stop like 60% of the way through, and then I'd have to start all over again. And I finally got a finished video, and then it wouldn't upload. And also it wouldn't save on my computer. I was screaming, but I finally got it up, and I'm so glad you liked it because I think you can see in that video, I just had the time of my life. I fell deeply in love with Rome. I feel like I left a piece of myself back there. I should have taken a lot more video than I did. But, any of us who have gone on trips, it's a real balancing act. There's a part of you that wants to document your trip and record it and take lots of pictures. And there's another part of you that I just want to experience. I just want to have fun. I just want to take it in. I don't want to be just taking pictures all the time. So that's how I ended up with about 6.5 minutes total of video, but at least I got enough little clips to at least give you the flavor of Rome, a sense of it. And it is true. I did get lost in Rome. At the concierge desk at the place I was staying at a hotel. It was about 20 minutes from the Colosseum. So it was very easy to get there. Very easy. And I went to the concierge desk and they gave me the map and they took a pen. They had these maps they handed out, and he took a ballpoint pen and he showed me, now you go up here and you turn here and you turn here. Well, I quickly got lost. And someone said, well, why don't you use Google Maps on your phone? Well, guess what? It wasn't working. It wasn't downloading on my phone. So that idea went out the window. So I kept going to different places asking for directions. And you got to understand about Rome, this is good thing. As I said at the concierge desk, about 85% of the people there speak English. So much for all my attempts to learn Italian. English was just fine in Rome, and thank goodness it was, because my skill with the Italian language still sucks very badly. It's quite embarrassing. I don't have that talent for picking up languages, but I kept getting different directions. The same thing happened in Florence. David, if you watch my video for Florence, that truthfully was me lost there too, because I was trying to find the David statue and everybody was giving me different directions and sending me down rabbit holes. But in the meantime, it was a great way to just explore the city and make beautiful discoveries. Well, that's the way it was with Rome. And I have been told this about Rome, that Rome is a city where it tells you where you should go. It reveals itself to you. And boy, was that ever true. Once I got lost trying to find the Trevi Fountain, I ended up finding, as I was going down all these little streets, going down all these little alleyways, it was like a mouse in a maze. And I was just getting more and more lost. But at the same time, I wasn't scared because I knew I could always call a taxi and just show them my address for my hotel. So I knew I wasn't lost. But as I got lost, I just thought, I'm just going to go with the flow with this. And I'm loving everything that I'm discovering. And one of the things I discovered totally by happenstance was the Pantheon. Totally by accident. Oh, I was going to look for this later. Well, here it is. So I found that along the way. And then this is where I called upon inner guidance. This is, hi, Whimsy, I see you're here. I want to go back too. But this is where I called upon inner guidance. I called upon my guides, and I said, literally, should I turn around and go back to my hotel or keep going for the Trevi Fountain? Give me a sign. And this shows where the universe has a really big sense of humor, because I turn around, I swear this is true. I even took a picture of myself to prove it. Literally a sign, arrow pointing this way, Trevi Fountain. Literally, the universe gave me a sign. So I went down the alley, and guess what? I got lost again, and I got lost again, and it just didn't matter because I was having such a beautiful time. And then sure enough, as you see in my video, I found the Trevi Fountain. And people ask me, well, did you throw coins in the Trevi Fountain? No, I did not, because you couldn't get anywhere near it because there were so many damn people. but I got close enough to at least get some good video and some pictures of myself to prove that I was there. And maybe I could have taken a coin, tried to thrown it a few hundred feet. I don't know. There's that saying that if you throw coins in the Trevi Fountain, it will guarantee that you will return to Rome. And Whimsy, I hope that's true, because I agree with you. I want to go back there so badly. I watched the videos. If ever in my life I wanted to climb inside a video, I so want to be back there. I felt at home in Rome. Wasn't trying to make a rhyme there. Felt at home in Rome, but I did. And I very much feel like I have left a piece of myself back there. So Whimsy, yeah, we gotta work hard. We gotta save our money and gotta get back there. We gotta get back there some way, and I believe we will. Let me get back to some other comments here. Goddess Val, yes, Barbara's book was nice and long and detailed. I like the way she described all of her gowns. Well, my sister, who's a big Streisand fan, we even went to see Streisand in concert together back in 1994 at the Anaheim Pond. My sister was a little turned off by the fact that Barbara went into so much detail. She said, I felt like it was a college course on Barbara Streisand and Barbara was the instructor. But I love the lady and I didn't have any problems with it. And I have said before, it is a sacred dream of mine. I've put it out to the universe. I want to meet Barbara Streisand, even if it's for 30 seconds, 10 seconds. I want to meet her. I've been very lucky in my life. You, Whimsy, too, because Whimsy used to live here in LA. I've met, I would say, almost every celebrity I've ever wanted to meet. There are only 3 left. And Whimsy, you know who they are, because one of them is Julie Andrews. Whimsy's been very lucky. She's met Julie many times, and you've had some lovely stories to tell about her. So Julie Andrews, simply because the first movie I ever saw in my life when I was 4 years old was Mary Poppins, and I had a wild crush on Julie Andrews, and I was a little boy, and I've always wanted to meet her ever since. The other 2 are Meryl Streep and Barbara Streisand. And interestingly enough, I have seen all 3 women in person on stage. I've seen Streisand 4 times in concert. I saw her another time where she was doing a tribute to Alan and Marilyn Bergman. So I've seen her 5 times on stage. Julie Andrews, I've seen twice at the Hollywood Bowl. Meryl Streep, I went to a screening of a movie and they did a Q&A afterwards. And Meryl Streep came out on stage with the rest of the cast. So I can always say I at least breathed the same air in the room as Meryl Streep. But I want to meet her, and I want to meet Barbara Streisand. That's my Mount Everest of celebrity wishes. Let me get back to some comments here. Whimsy said, I want to go back and get out of the tourist spots and just eat my way across the country. I am in total agreement with you, Whimsy. I know we can't afford to do it right now, both of us, but let's make that happen. And the great thing about Whimsy and I, we found we travel well together, didn't we? We really travel well together. And I'm looking forward to more of that with you. How we're going to do it, when, whatever, but we're going to figure it out. We're both working hard right now, and we're manifesting a lot of things at the moment. We're going to manifest that. Randy DeMel, Whimsy by Chuck, a compass. I could have actually probably accessed the compass on my iPhone. I probably could have done that. But you know what? I didn't have any problem being lost in Rome. I'd do it again. Get lost in Rome. It's the greatest city, one of the greatest cities in the world to do that in. Let's see, Cassie Lake, B5. Chuck, your paintings captured the spirit of the subject and should be shared with the public in a gallery show. Well, thank you most kindly for that compliment. One of the reasons I love doing portraits so much is because I love that unique challenge of capturing what's in their soul, especially the eyes. The biggest reason I have for tearing up a drawing or anything, destroying it, is, to me, the eyes are non-negotiable. You can kind of fudge on some other things, abstract a little, but I have found in a portrait, you do not get those eyes right, don't go any further, because I know it's a cliche, but the eyes are the windows to the soul. Everything's in the soul is in those eyes. So I pay a lot of attention to that. And if there's anything that I will abstract, it is the eyes. In fact, let me get my Ruth Bader Ginsburg here. This is not finished. I've got a lot more watercolor to put on it, but look what I'm doing right now with her eyes. Because you talk about Ruth Bader Ginsburg, you talk about a very, very complex soul, incredible depth, incredible intelligence. And I started to look into her eyes and I saw like little bit specks of yellow, little specks of blue. I found green, I found brown. I'm still working on the eyes. I'm still working, but this is just an example of how important eyes to me. To me, eyes are everything about a portrait. And Whimsy, I don't know if you were here earlier, but I'm doing a lot of artwork right now because I am going to soon be posting a lot more videos with my channeled readings, Princess Diana. I don't know if you saw my Jacqueline Kennedy. I was working on this before the show. The paint was still wet, but portraits are just my love. I'm certainly capable of doing things like landscapes and that sort of thing, but portraits are what turned me on, because I love getting into people's souls and feeling their energy. And, of course, I work from reference photos. I don't imply I'm just channeling a whole portrait. I'm working from reference pictures. But where the channeling comes in, it's when I'm putting down those layers of watercolor, when I'm going over with the colored pencil, when I'm drawing the line, that's where the energy comes in. And often I do get messages. And when I do professional portraits for people, I even mentioned this in my comments, I've called them soul portraits, because oftentimes when you give me a photograph of someone you want me to draw or paint, I almost always get messages. It's hard for me not to when I'm spending several hours with a portrait. It's inevitable when I'm connecting like that. And it's something I love very, very much. And anyway, I could go on and on. Andy Rindu, can I put in request for a channel for Captain Kangaroo or the guys from Howdy Doody? Okay. I could see, I really want to do a channel reading with Mr. Rogers. I'm definitely putting him on the list. Now, Captain Kangaroo, well, he might surprise me. Maybe he would have some things to say, or the guys from Howdy Doody. And, I have a friend who was actually on the Howdy Doody show back in the 1950s. He and his sister, when they were little children back in the 1950s, they lived in New York City, where the show was done, and the show was done live, and they called it the Peanut Gallery, where the children would sit, and they sat for a number of shows. In fact, my friend who has since passed away, in my kitchen, I have his Howdy Doody string puppet hanging in my kitchen. I can't go get it right now. I'd have to get a ladder and take it down, but I have his, obviously not original. It's what, they were mass marketed in the 1950s. And Katem, thank you for your compliment about my RBG portrait. And yes, the notorious RBG. I have a really good channeled message from her. I'm going to make a video with the portrait, but I read this message on Whimsy's show a while back. And I even, I said, the personalities of these subjects are very much present on the other side. That does not go away. And, and it's almost humorous to me, the things that come out. And in her case, she was very stubborn. This was a no-nonsense woman. This was a woman, she reminded me of like a really stern school teacher at motioning with her finger. She was like, I'm busy. Leave me alone. I don't have time for you. She was making it very clear that she does a lot of work on the other side. A lot of these spirits are doing work on the other side for our behalf. She's working very hard right now for the sake of preserving democracy in this country and trying to save it right now. She and a lot of others. There's a lot going on behind the scenes. But she came to me and she was busy. She was like, I can't be bothered. No, what is it? What do you want? And I was like, very polite. I said, well, could I just ask you a few questions. Would you have a message for the show? Come back to me in a few days. Come in a few days. That's literally what I got. And I wasn't expecting that. I tried her again. And she was, and Whimsy, you'll appreciate this. I think I told you. She was asking, like, okay, how many people watch this show? How many people will I be speaking to? Who will I be reaching? She was asking like serious questions like that. And I was answering. It was like, okay, I'll give you a few minutes. I'll give you a few minutes. And so she did talk to me, and I've got that message. And I thought that would be a great thing to read again, record it for my show with my artwork. And maybe she'll even give me a little more. I like her very much. I admire Ruth Bader Ginsburg tremendously, but oh boy, did she read me the riot act. Let's see, Randy DeMel. Chuck, how do you know when a portrait is finished? It's a largely an intuitive thing. You know, I just look at it. You know, it's when I stop getting ideas. Like, for example, this one was not finished. I knew like I needed to put a little glimmer in her eye. I knew I needed to do that. I knew I needed to go over it with some colored pencils. I needed to add a little more pink to it. I needed to add a few more strands to the hair. I mean, things that maybe many people would not make a difference. They're that subtle, but I see it. I know it. And so I just keep going until it just intuitively feels complete to me. Like I look at it and go, okay, this is done. This accomplished my goal. This captures this person's energy, because that's the most important thing to me. It captures their energy. I don't mind if it's a little abstracted, if it's a little less imperfect, as long as that energy is authentically there and I feel that. This is Jacqueline Kennedy Onassis as I channel her, as I feel her, and it felt authentic to me, and it felt like the right time to stop. Now, I say that after the show, I may see a few little more highlights and things to add to it, but that's the best answer I can give you, that I know something is finished when it feels finished to me. But it's also one of the reasons I rarely put my artwork out on my walls, because when I do, I'm always seeing things I want to fix, always things I want to add to it, change. And it's just almost torments me a little. That's why I just think, okay, let's just put the art away. Let's just keep a blank slate in my home. I'm a little better about putting artwork out, but no. I'm not obsessed with my own work like that. You know, if anything, I'd rather have other people's artwork up if I'm going to put anything up in my home. What was this scene? I'm trying to remember, Chuck, who it was. Was it on Captain Kangaroo and beside him and Mr. Green Jeans? Gotta think there was Dancing Bear. There was Bunny Rabbit. Of course, you're probably talking about people. Only one comes to mind is Mr. Green Jeans, but I remember Bunny Rabbit, and I remember that talking, what was there, a clock, and Dancing Bear. I don't remember. It's been many years since my Captain Kangaroo days, but I liked Captain Kangaroo. And, you know, there was an episode of Mr. Rogers where Captain Kangaroo guest starred on there, and I think Mr. Rogers reciprocated and appeared on Captain Kangaroo. They traded appearances with each other. What was this, Andy? I think he signs it like Bob Ross did when it's done. You know what? I do sign my work when it's done, but actually, sometimes I put so much attention into the composition of what I'm doing, and I'm so hypersensitive. It's like I don't want to put my signature on there because it'll spoil the balance and the composition. And I realize, but I gotta sign it. So sometimes I'll even sign my name really small, not to take away from the work. You know, when I was in college, I actually I used to be a lot worse about that. I think it's because, you know, when you're a kid, you're more insecure about yourself, so you try to overcompensate. So I used to sign my name real big, and I used to have instructors get on my case about that. Don't sign your name so big. You're taking away from your artwork, and they were right. So now I go in the other direction. You know, I just, you know, I don't think there's ego in my work in that respect. I don't have that need to make my name big or anything, but I realize as an artist I should sign my work. That's essential. Let's see. But you were saying also about a gallery. Someone was saying, I didn't answer that. Um, it's hard to get into galleries like here in Los Angeles. Many times there's a lot of politics involved. There's waiting lists to get into galleries, and there are actually galleries where you've got to pay them to put your work in there. It's just like a lot of nightclubs around here where music acts play. Um, Something comes to mind is the Whiskey A Go Go on the Sunset Strip. The famed Whiskey A Go Go where the Doors played and Jimi Hendrix and others. Bands have to pay to play there because it's such a great place to publicize yourself and be seen, and there's prestige to it. So they long ago stopped paying their acts. At least I think so, unless there are changes in policy there. But I've known people who performed who've actually had to pay. And Randy DeMeo is source a slow artist? It all depends. If you mean source, you mean as far as channeling through my art? It truly depends. I have some pieces on occasion that fly out of me, and then but more often than not, it's slow, it's deliberate. It's something where I have to work on a piece for a while, put it away, come back to it a day or two later, add a little more to it, a little more. And of course, when you're doing watercolor, you're putting down layers upon layers upon layers anyway, translucent layers. That's why sometimes I'm reluctant to show work before it's finished, because a lot of people don't understand that. What was this, Annie? Your mom taught oil, I think you meant oil painting when you were a kid, and she also painted after watching Bob Ross. That's great. You want to talk about people who impart ideas and inspire. People may put down someone like Bob Ross, but look how many people who took up painting because of him. Julia Child. How many people took up the art of French cooking because of Julia Child? She made it accessible. Sometimes we don't give people like that enough credit for the seeds they planted in people, and in turn those people planted those seeds in others. It's about lighting that fire in others. And Whimsy, I love the fact that we're talking on the shows about creativity and mastery and the aspects that are involved in that. And I even love talking about it myself. I'm always happy to talk about it. And as I said, I'm very humble about what I do, but I will discuss it. If people have questions, I'll try to answer the best of my abilities. Sometimes I don't even know what I'm doing. And I'm college educated in art. And sometimes I don't know what I'm doing because I'm just going by where my instinct tells me. And then I have to go back and break it down if somebody wants to ask me questions about it. And one of the ways I learned that was when I was in college, because teachers would not let you get away with saying, I don't know how I did it, I just did it. Oh, no. The teacher, when it comes to critique time, when you're all pinning your work up on the board, the teacher will say, you will explain how you did this. You want a passing grade, you're going to explain how you did this. So you did have to start analyzing more and paying more attention as you went along. It's like I would love to do on my channel tutorials, art tutorials. I'm thinking of a lot of ways to boost my channel. I diversify it, and I thought it would be good to do some tutorials on how to paint in oils and watercolor and draw. But first, I've got to break it down for myself, break it down before I can teach it to others. Or I've got to remember, how did my teachers instruct me? And while I'm here, I'm going to say this. My high school art teacher, Mrs. Susan Shaw, I love giving her credit, was the greatest art teacher I ever had in my entire life. And that's including college. I'd say 85% of the things I do, I learned from her. And a lot of it, I learned from her when I was about 13, 14 years old. She taught me how to do watercolor. And she taught me to do watercolor, which is something a lot of people say they can't do. I hear that all the time. Oh, I can't do watercolor. I can't. Well, my art teacher in high school, she made it so easy to understand. And I took to it immediately. And I know if I can just break it down in a way where I can instruct it, I can get people on their feet doing watercolor. And I'd love that. In fact, that happened once in college. It was an illustration class, and everybody in there had these muddied up watercolors that looked like hell. I was the only person who had a watercolor that looked decent. And the instructor said, "Why is it you can do this? Nobody else can." And I just said, it was because my high school art teacher, she taught me how to paint watercolor. And he said, well, he asked me to get up and take over the class. He said, you teach what you were taught. So I did do this once. And the biggest thing she did, she said the big mistake people make with watercolors, they put too much paint down on the paper. They just glop it down. And that's why it's all muddy. Watercolor, you put down very thin, translucent layers. You have a glass of water with you, a roll of paper towels. You constantly dip your brush. You constantly wipe your brush off, and you put down thin layers. And then the other thing is you've got to let those layers dry. And that's the downfall. A lot of people don't have patience for that. And my trick, and this was to the chagrin of my teachers in college, because I would bring a hairdryer to class, just blow dryer, and I would just dry the layer in like 30 seconds and then go and put on the next. Well, it drove my teachers crazy, but they had to acknowledge I had the best watercolors in class. So I was doing something right. Like this is, I told you before we went on the air with this show, all this was wet. The strands I painted in her hair, I just got out the blow dryer, dried it in no time. It works. Yeah. Teach. I should be teaching this. Yeah. As I'm talking about this right now, yeah, I can be making videos teaching watercolor. Yeah, this is on the agenda. I'm going to channel Mr. Rogers. I'm going to make tutorial videos on watercolor, and maybe I'll even talk about how I channel while I do the watercolors. Someone suggested to me, I need to get like a GoPro, get like a headband or a hat with a GoPro on it, and just have the camera here on my forehead and a little light coming down. So that way I got my hands free and I can work, and I can just let people see what I'm seeing. And then, of course, as I'm working on my editing skills, edit all this together and speed it up. I have one video on right now about how I did my Amelia Earhart, and it runs 17 minutes. I need to speed that thing up for sure. Andy, you were correcting me, not oil. There was something called toll painting. I have to confess, I'm not familiar with toll painting. And you're saying toll painting is the folk art of decorative painting on tin and wooden utensils, objects, and furniture. Okay, that's interesting. Thank you for correcting me there. I apologize. Sometimes I get typos. Whimsy, this happens to us when we take questions in the audience. Sometimes there will be so many typos, and you're reading it live, and you've got to figure out, okay, what did they mean here? So I'm so sorry. I thought maybe that was a typo for oil. Apologize there. Yeah, F1 Fennec, you learn from teaching others, Chuck. You're absolutely correct about that. And I've had teachers tell me that they get as much out of it as the students do. And so, yeah, I'm a big believer that we take our God-given abilities and we share them with the world, and we give, and we inspire, and we light other people's torches. So I'd like to take what I know and let people take it in their own style, in their own way, and do what they do that's unique to them as individuals. Don't copy me, just be inspired by whatever techniques I can give you. I've even thought about doing art therapy, because there's a lot of value in that. Art therapy is wonderful for people who can't express their emotions, their feelings in words, or they've got it locked up in them. But you give them some finger paints or some crayons or some pastels and let them express. And this is also a time to address the big argument a lot of people will give. I can't draw. I can't paint. I don't have any talent. Bullshit. You know what? Everybody can do something. We all have things in our soul. And if you can't draw, say, traditionally, like myself, frankly, you can do abstract work. I have a friend very close friend. Okay, it's Anastasia. You know her. A lot of you know who she is. I gifted her a set of paints. It's just a box of tubes of acrylic paints. And let me tell you, she is doing the most beautiful abstract art pieces right now. That woman has so much in her psyche, and she's just letting it out on the canvases with the paints. And it all started with those tubes of paint right there. So everybody has the ability to express themselves, and art therapy is wonderful for that. So maybe I'll do a little more of that as well. So Andy, that's something that your mother would teach, that toll painting, and I saw where you corrected the spelling. Yes, it is quieter without Sasha right now. She is sleeping in the kitchen right now, and much as I love my little girl, it's easier to do a show without her. She can get quite disruptive. But well, Andy, you do cross stitch. Everybody has a form of art. It might be you don't draw, paint, or dance or write, but you can cook a beautiful meal. You can work on your car. You love to work in your garden. Andy, you like to do your cross stitch. I have a niece who is an accountant, and she loves numbers. That's her art. Everybody has something that's their art, that's creative for them, and it's something that nourishes your soul, and it's something that you can use to give to others and inspire others with. And so remember that, please. Randy DeMille saw a video where elephants were painting. Oh, I'd like to see that. I think maybe I have, where they actually hold a paintbrush in their trunk and they're going back and forth. And I think I saw where those paintings sell for a lot of money. An original jumbo. Oh my God, I'm thinking of something else right now. It's a little X-rated and vulgar. Don't know if I should. Okay, we're grown-ups here. Somebody sent me some videos of a man who paints portraits with his penis. Yes, dips it in paint and actually paints on the canvas. And here's the thing, his paintings were actually good. But I'm sitting there like, but everybody has their art. Everybody has their way to express themselves. Pardon me, please, if that was a little vulgar, but that's what I saw somebody do. I don't know where to tell you to find the videos, but trust me, folks, they're out there. There is someone in this world who actually can do that. The one where he was Mr. Rogers talking to the ape. Yes, I think that was Coco. Was it Coco? I think that was the name of the ape that could speak in sign language. Oh, yeah, well, you just said that. I think it was named Coco. It's sign language. I'm sorry, I didn't read the rest of your comment there. I was just actually saying it out loud. Yeah, I think Coco had a vocabulary of about over 6,000 words. And they even gave Coco a kitten, and she named the kitten All Ball. And it's so sweet because this big gorilla was so tender, so protective, and so loving of that little kitten, and stroking it and holding it so carefully not to hurt it. And I've seen that where Mr. Rogers met with Coco and they were looking each other in the eye. Oh yeah, I remember now. Coco they had a television for Coco to watch, and she loved to watch Mr. Rogers. And Mr. Rogers found out about it and came to visit her, and she recognized him from the TV show. It was like, well, where have you been? I've been waiting on you. Of course you're here to see me. It was almost like that. And I also read that Robin Williams came to visit Coco, and it was all a very similar thing where they were very serious with each other, looking each other in the eye, and it was very moving. And I think Robin Williams was deeply moved by Coco. They have such incredible intelligence, and humans and apes, very, very closely related. I forget. I think when our DNA is examined, it's not that far off. No, Andy, Coco passed away a while back. I don't know when, but Coco is gone now. Wonder if Coco would come to me in a channeled session. That would be interesting. I even wonder if Coco had been human in another lifetime. And the reason I say that is because I had not Sasha, but it was a cat before this. I had a psychic say to me, a trusted psychic, tell me, your cat's been human before, and I felt it. I could feel it. And friends who would come over would look my cat in the eye and say, there's something human about that cat's eyes, the way he's looking back at me. So it wouldn't surprise me if Coco had been human before, and maybe that's why she related so well to other humans. To me, it's like Coco, because I believe our souls come here with a purpose. Devoutly believe that we're all born with a mission and purpose, and we determine this before we even incarnate. It would not surprise me if Coco, the gorilla, incarnated with a purpose, like maybe to educate people about animals, to get closer to nature, to wildlife, to realize that these creatures have emotions and they have feelings and they have a heart just like us. And I think that's what Coco came here to teach us. F1 Fennec, yes, I've seen that humans don't understand animal intelligence or give them enough credit for it. Oh my God. Sasha grieved mightily while I was away in Europe. This was the one thing about my trip that was very, very hard. And Whimsy, being the gifted and heartfelt intuitive reader that she is, would tap into my cat and she'd say, Sasha was just, where did he go? What did I do? How did I drive him away? What have I done? What have I done? What did I do wrong to make him leave me? And I was like, that was hard to hear. That was hard to hear. And it was Whimsy's suggestion that I record videos on my phone for Sasha. And Anastasia, who was taking care of her, would hold the phone up and Sasha would see me and she'd hear my voice and she'd start reacting to it. And she'd perk up. And sometimes Anastasia would just play the videos over and over and over and over for her. But when I came back, I swear if a cat could cry, she looked like she had tears in her eyes. She was just so overjoyed to see me. So like, you're home, you came back. And then those of you who saw the first show I did after coming back from Europe, remember she was just back and forth, pick me up, put me down, pick me up, put me down, knocking cards over. That's the way she was for at least the first week or two I got back. Just my shadow. She would not leave my side. She knows I'm home now. Now she's secure enough to go off in the other room and sleep. But yeah, animals have they have emotions. I started to say human emotions. They have emotions that are like humans. They have hearts. They have feelings. They get sad. They get angry. They think. We have so much to learn from them, to connect with them. Let me see any other comments here. Well, F1 Fennec, I've heard you say, I heard you don't change when you incarnate, you stay a human. Well, honestly, there are different opinions. Different intuitive psychics have different things to say. And I can only speak from my own personal experience. People can disagree with me, but I am convinced my last cat had been human before. I'm just convinced of that. I mean, you looked in that cat's eyes. It was a human connection. It was a human understanding. And based on that and what I've had from some very trusted intuitive friends, I do believe that it is possible to be animal or human, though I suspect we stay mostly human. But It's not impossible. We could have had a lifetime where we came in as an animal. We needed to. Sometimes it might be the only way you can be close with a person. Like, say it's a person who's childless. They're never going to have children. Or it's someone who's elderly. There's no other way except to come to them as a pet, come as a dog or cat. Because I've had many people just said that pet is like my soulmate. That pet is like my child, where they're like human. And I've often wondered if that's a soul that comes that form, because it's the only way. And when you think about it, an animal's lifetime is so short. Even if they live 15 years, it's a blink of the eye. It's a short period for a soul to come back and to serve a purpose for a while. Like Coco, I just have to believe Coco had been human before. I have to believe that. And Randy DeMille, sometimes I wish we had instincts like animals do. We do. It's just that many of us are just not in tune with them, or we block them out, or we disregard them. See, animals, I think, are much more tuned into their instincts. There's something pure, basic, and simple about an animal. They don't have the complexities that humans have that get in the way. So I think that's one of the reasons they're so better connected. And also, animals, I find, are much more honest. Animals rarely will lie. They let you know exactly how they feel. Now, we've all had cats and dogs pretend like they didn't get their meal or something so they can get fed a second time. I know that. There's so much for honesty there. But I think for the most part, they are very honest. If I or you were with the cat in a previous life and are again. Oh, yes. I've had pets where I felt like I've been with them before. I have. And, one of my greatest wishes, one of my things I hope is really, really true, because we can talk about the other side and feel fairly confident about things. I do, because I do my channeling. But obviously, we're not going to know conclusively until we do die. But I hope the Rainbow Bridge is for real. And that thing about the Rainbow Bridge, when we cross over, and all of our pets we've had our whole life come running to us to greet us. I always smile and I think about that. And I think about all the dogs I've ever had, all the cats, birds I've had, my hamster. I just think, oh my God, that I would be so excited to see all those pets again that, frankly, it would take preference over friends and relatives. It's like, sorry, Grandma, I'll be with you a little bit. I want to say hi to Patches again, my Cocker Spaniel. I would probably be like that. It's like, I'll be with you, Grandma. I'll be with you, Aunt Mildred, blah, blah, later. But I think they would compete for my attention. I've had very close relationships with my pets. You've seen me with Sasha. But yes, F1 Fennec, we have too many distractions. Andy, Chuck, the other day, my mom died. She loved watching Dr. David Jeremiah on TV, and he mentioned heaven is our true home on earth. We are only there on a work visa, and we are called home. That's an interesting way to put it, because, earth is a little bit like a work visa. It's also a big schoolhouse. We come here to learn. I think that's one of the highest purposes of our lifetimes. We come here to learn. We come here to grow. We come here to evolve. I want to say we come here to perfect and fine tune, maybe to a degree, but that takes many lifetimes. Let's face it, we never fully perfect ourselves. We keep spiraling, but we come here to do the best we can. It's a big schoolhouse and a work visa, let's face it, we come here, it's not always happiness. Sometimes it's tremendous sorrow. It's tremendous heartbreak. It's tremendous challenges. But maybe we wouldn't get them any other way unless we came here. And then we go back to the spirit world. But, I've been getting spirits who have said to me, even on the other side, you're still learning, you're still growing. They have the equivalents of schools and classrooms in the other side, for want of a better way of saying it. You're constantly trying to perfect and rise higher. And it's also one of the reasons why a lot of these souls are dedicated to assisting us while we're here and helping us, because it helps them too. It helps them to rise higher. It helps them to evolve through goodness and through service. Why our visa has expired while we're here. Well, maybe that's a way of looking at it. Randy DeMel, I'm going to be a housefly in my next life. I remember that movie with Lily Tomlin, and I just saw in my upper corner of my computer here, Whimsy has a new video out. Go back to what you loved as a child. That's kind of what I'm talking about here. Yeah, go back to where you loved as a child. That's where you get a lot of your answers of where you should be in life now. Truly, a lot of your answers and clues are there. But yeah, no, I was thinking about the movie with Lily Tomlin and Steve Martin, and it was what was that movie where her soul went into his body or his soul into her body? I forget. I haven't seen it in so long, but there was a line Lily Tomlin said, "I want to reincarnate as a bird," and there was somebody she was having trouble with, and she said, "I want to be bird, and I want to fly over and shit on her head." You know, it was something like that. That's interesting. Why would you want to be a housefly in your next life? Yes, All of Me. That was the movie. I haven't seen that movie forever. I forget the whole plot of it. I just remembered that line there. I guess as a housefly, you would get to watch a lot of interesting things. You know, the old saying, like a fly on the ceiling, you know, to stand over and observe and watch a lot of personal things going on. It's almost 8:00 here. I'm going to have to sign out soon because I've got to get some work done tonight. But did anybody want to ask me anything final before I leave? Any last question? Anything you'd like me to address? Otherwise, I'm going to... Oh, wait, Pat Sparrow made it. Greetings, Chuck. Hi. I was just about to sign out here, but I'm so glad you're here. I appreciate every one of you for joining. I love that I have new people on here. One of the great things with all the new subscribers I have, a lot of that did come from that Amelia Earhart video. So, and then my Marilyn Monroe video did very well. Also, I'm going to see how these political figures do, because they're a bit more controversial. I say controversial because a lot of it's going to depend on your political leanings. And I really strive to not go into the politics, but most of these channel readings, like Richard Nixon, Harry Truman, Ruth Bader Ginsburg, they did not have kind things to say about Donald Trump. And I don't know how many Trump supporters are out there watching me, but I know they can get really vicious. And I've had that happen. Like last year, I was showing a portrait I did of Kamala Harris, and my administrators actually had to go in and block some comments that were really, really nasty. So that's my one thing about putting up channel readings, but it's the truth. It's what I got from them, and they do have relevant things to say. So I may test the waters and see what the response is going to be. I guess to do what I do, what any of us do, sometimes it does call us to step forward and be brave. And going forward with the public sometimes requires bravery. You know, most of you are wonderful, but occasionally I do get the bad comments. And it shakes me up a little, but I'm getting better about letting it roll off my back. And I'm also becoming more resolute in just knowing I'm in my truth and I'm in my integrity. And that's that. I would never put up a reading that I did not feel was as truthful as I could make it and in the highest of integrity. And people are free to comment in any way they want, believe what they want, don't believe. There was one man I wanted to even say to him, look, we can all channel. If you think you can do better than me, then I invite you. You channel Amelia Earhart and see if she gives you answers that I wasn't getting. I wasn't even being sarcastic there. I was just saying, look, do it yourself then if you think you can do a better job. I'm doing my heartfelt best here. And so I'm holding on to that. And no, I won't forget about Marie Antoinette. Okay. I don't know. As I said, I don't know if she'll come to me. She might be reincarnated. She may not want to talk about it. I will try. I will try that. And boy, that'll be a hell of a portrait to do too. I'll have fun with that. Andy, Anastasia is doing well. She's working a new job right now. A restaurant. She's one of the managers. I mentioned at the beginning of the show, it's very, very, very intense work. Anybody who's ever worked in a restaurant, it's hard. And so it takes a lot of her energy. She's in a good position right now. I believe she's going to soar and fly and do beautifully, and she's going to find her joy. And I'm proud of her. I'm deeply proud of her. I think she's born to do this. But that's why you may not be seeing live streams from her for a while or hearing from her. She's just got so much to address right now. But she's doing well, and I will tell her that you asked about her, Andy. Let's see, what are the comments here? Yeah, tell her I said hi, and I'll take a Pepsi Light Ice. Well, this kind of restaurant, I don't even know if they would serve Pepsi. It's a very fancy high-end restaurant. It'd be more about what type of wine would you like to have. Fine wine. It's fine dining. But she's good with this. She's, as you know, she's excellent with people, loves people. And Anastasia is another one who's very much about service to others. She loves to give to people. So anything in the public eye is good for her. I don't know if I have any other comments here before I sign out. I just want to see if anybody wanted to ask something real fast before I go. Oh, yes, I know that. She never said that. Let them eat cake. Yeah, that I know. I know that's something. It's like George Washington. I can never tell a lie. No, I did not chop down that cherry tree. Well, that whole thing was made up, but it became folklore. I don't know quite how. I should look that up, how that became part of folklore about let them eat cake. She must have said something to the effect of that. That maybe because she was being so vilified by her people that it got changed around. Part of me wants to look that up. And then there's another part of me, if I'm going to channel her, I'd like to come from a pure place where I don't have any preconceived ideas. I very much like to have a clean blank slate when I do a channeling, and just open myself to receiving whatever wants to come in. So I don't want to have anything in my subconscious there. What was this? If you channeled Marie, she would say today, let them eat Twinkies. That's right. Oh, yeah. Well, I think you're thinking of Dolly Madison. Weren't there like Dolly Madison Twinkies or something? I'm thinking of the old peanut special, sponsored by Dolly Madison's cakes, cookies. Marie Antoinette, I've been in Versailles, been in the Palace of Versailles. I saw her bedroom, and this was a long time ago, so I don't know if it's still true or not, but at the time I was there, the next room next to her bedroom had been turned into a gift shop. Postcards, T-shirts, tchotchkes. This is gauche and tacky. Should ask her how she feels about that. Oh, the questions I could ask Marie Antoinette, like, how did you feel about Norma Shearer playing you in the movie? Or did you prefer, let's see, Sofia Coppola, I think, did a version of Marie Antoinette. Who was it who played her in that movie? And I'm thinking of the name. I've even met her a long time ago. Blonde actress. Totally having a brain fart here, blanking on her name, and I know exactly who it is. Yes, it was the Revolution people saying that to vilify her. That's more or less what I was saying. They took something that she may have said and twisted it around to just do that, vilify her. I don't know what would come through if I could reach her. I don't know. Certainly her execution was horrific. When Whimsy and I were in London, we visited the Tower of London, and we saw the site where a lot of public executions were taken, beheadings. And Whimsy, I don't know if you're still out there. You can mention the name of the person because I'm having a brain fart here. I can't think of her. But she was, she, when she was beheaded, she was there. I think she had her rosary beads in her hands and she was saying her prayers. And when the axe came down, chopped her head off, held her head up by the hair, her eyes were still, her mouth was still moving, like she was still saying her prayers for a few seconds before she blacked out. And Whimsy, of course, is a doctor who confirmed to me that yes, when a person is beheaded, sometimes the head has a few seconds of life still. So she was still mouthing her prayers when she was beheaded. And I can only imagine what Marie Antoinette went through. Anybody, any person facing something like that, any person. Oh yes, Kirsten Dunst. Thank you very much. Because I have met Kirsten Dunst, and I thought I can't think of her name, but even though I could visualize her. Yeah, tiny. She's very tiny. I was surprised how little she is. Good actress. What was this? Elsa Lanchester, Bride of Frankenstein. Yeah, she was wonderful in that movie. Oh, Joan of Arc. Joan of Arc, burned at the stake, of course. A lot of historical figures I could be channeling. I just, I was actually thinking, because I am putting up more channel videos. Who's next? Who should I do? And so I'm glad I got the idea from Mr. Rogers. I will take your suggestion for Marie Antoinette. I'll let you know if she comes to me or not, because I don't know. She might have reincarnated. I don't know. I'm not going to really know until I just really sit down and meditate on that one. And she may not want to talk. It's like when I got the reading from Amelia Earhart, she was intentionally enigmatic with me. Like she didn't want to give all of her secrets. It's like there was a little bit of, I don't know the word, I'm using the right word, playfulness. Like, don't you love that I left you with this great riddle, this great puzzle? Do you really want me to spoil that? And I took some heat for that. People said, oh, come on. Why didn't she just say what happened? And all I was doing was reporting what I heard. She was being enigmatic with me. You never know what you're going to get. You just have to get out of your way and let them talk. So I have no idea what she would say to me, but I'm curious. I am intrigued. I will take that up. Now, is there anything anyone else wanted to say to me before I say good night? It's 8:12 my time here on the West Coast. I know for some of you it's a lot later. I need to get back to some of my artwork here because I want to get these pieces done so I can start recording these videos and getting them up soon. And of course, Whimsy and I have a great show planned for tomorrow. Please watch the Oracle of Whimsy channel tomorrow. I'm on her show Tuesdays and Thursdays, her and the wonderful Joel Tilson. And we were on at 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Eastern, and that's more politics, current events, but we also try to incorporate self-help. And then we take a lot of your questions and do readings live on the air on current events. So we're always grateful to have you there. And we have a show where we're going to be talking about the importance of avoiding, for want of a better way of saying it, brain rot. A lot of us are getting stagnant. We're getting brain atrophy from too much social media, television, not reading, not thinking, not challenging our minds, not having projects, agendas, goals where we work to learn something. We're going to address that tomorrow on the show. And I think that's a great idea that Whimsy had. And anyway, we'll be talking about that Tuesday, possibly Thursday also. So I love it if you join us, please. And I'm sure some of you on here, of course, do watch us already. And on behalf of Whimsy, we're very grateful to you. Appreciate it. We just reached 100 subscribers, 100,000 subscribers on that channel. I've got quite a way to go on this one, but it's really wonderful. And you people are wonderful, and you're wonderful. Just stay faithful and join me every week. So I thank you so much. And of course, if you want to get a private reading from me, My information, comments is in the comments. dransfieldchuck@gmail.com. I do half-hour and 1-hour readings. I can be commissioned for artwork. It's always my honor to do so. And I will be back here next week. It's probably going to be like 5:30ish or so, like before. I'm finding it can't always hit that 5 o'clock mark because of my other work, but I try. I really try. I'm going to try to get back on course with staying on time. But I just thank you for your patience, and I will see you next week. So goodbye for now.